All right, today we are going to cook what I'm going to call chop pockets. Chicken parm chop pockets. You'll see why. So I picked up this real good, lightly breaded chicken nuggets from the grocery store. What I liked about these the most is that it is 2 grams of fat per 4 ounces. That is killer. So this real good chicken nuggets, the chicken tenders are the same 2 grams of fat. So I went with the nuggets so I would have to cut less. So first thing, I'm going to air fry it, 330, preheat. All right, so the premise behind these chop pockets is I'm going to basically make like a little bit of a dough, and I stole this from someone else, a little bit of a dough, and then I'm going to flatten that out into like a pizza crust type of deal. And then I'm going to put some of this, whatever I'm mixing together, in the center of it, and I'm going to roll it up into like a little pocket. And then I'm going to like sear it shut, and it becomes like this pocket of whatever I stick inside. I'm going to put in some mozzarella, fat-free mozzarella, some tomato sauce, and Italian seasoning with this chicken, and make it like a chicken parm deal. And then it seals up nicely, and I wrap it in tin foil. I'll save some of it for later, and I'll eat some now. So real good chicken is the way to go. So first I'm preheating the air fryer. Now I'm going to measure out and get my stuff ready. So I'm going to make 4 servings as I walk around the kitchen out of the camera view. And my 4 servings are going to be, I think it's 16 ounces of chicken total. Here it is. 16 ounces chicken nuggets. Get my handy dandy food scale. Starting to use grams a lot more than ounces just because it's a little more precise, more consistent since everything else is measured that way. So I'm going to measure out 16 ounces of this chicken so I can find the best way to open it. Yeah, this was just in the frozen section. They look like they're pretty, it says lightly breaded, but they look like they're in pretty good shape. Switch that over to ounces. So that's 10.8. I guess I need another bowl. So that means I need 5.2. For all those crumbs and stuff that are in there, we're going to go an ounce over. Couldn't hurt, right? And there's probably enough left for one of the children, so I'll put that in the freezer for later. So that's about done preheating. I'm going to pull that out. Seems plenty hot. So now we're going to put all this chicken in there. I think it said 6 to 8 minutes. We'll go 7. We'll go 7. So in here, I'm going to start to prep up everything else I'm going to mix together once the chicken is cooked. Or should I do the chop pockets first? I probably should have done that before I started the chicken. I use my mixer here. I'm going to use a think this is called a kneading mixer, like how you knead a dough. So for this, you just use flour, Greek yogurt, and I'm going to throw some seasoning in there with a little bit of baking soda. So I need 320 grams of all-purpose flour. Just generic all-purpose flour, nothing fancy. Switch over to grams. There's 214. That's a lot. I'll try and scoop some back in. 325. Into the mixing bowl. Next up, I need my Greek yogurt. I need 328 grams of Greek yogurt. And it is buried in my fridge. For this, I just use the Chobani non-fat plain Greek yogurt. A bunch of condensation water on top. I'll dump that out. I'll grab a spoon. The store hasn't had this recently, so I've been buying the little ones, but I guess I could switch to the vanilla if I had to, because it's a really plain flavor. Come on. So I need 328. $176. $209. $247. $267. I'm gonna need some of my little ones. Glad I bought more. No. No. All right, 267. So I need 328. So I need 959. I need 59 more grams. There it is. Close enough. I'm 2 grams light. Left that out. I need 2 tablespoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons. Good catch. I left this out last time. I don't think it made that much of a difference, but I'm going to do it this time. Let's see how it does. Chicken's almost done. This might time out pretty well. So this is something I stole from someone else online. Theirs was like a burrito style. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do a cheesesteak style one if I can pull off the macros to make it look pretty. One thing I've also been obsessing over lately has been creamies. I've had one just about every night since I got the creamy on my birthday. Some are way healthier than others. I found some pretty awesome recipes online for that. So I'll let that mix up. The chicken's coming to a close. I'll get my other stuff ready. Chicken, sauce, seasoning, cheese. That's pretty basic. I'll dump some of this seasoning in there. Sauce. I need a half a cup of sauce and cheese. So for sauce, I'm going to use this Contadina pizza squeeze sauce. It's low calorie, low sugar, sugar free, 6 carbs, 0 fat. How'd this come out? Looks nice. Perfect. I need a bigger pan for that. Alright, so now I'm going to keep it on a very low temperature, but really just to melt the cheese and kind of incorporate it all together. I'm going to dump this in there. I'm going to put the cheese and the sauce in there. I need a half of a cup of the sauce. I think this is more of a pizza sauce, and it's squeezable, so you can spread it right on your dough. I have a flour and Greek yogurt recipe that I use a lot for pizza. So this is good to spread on there. Sometimes I use the canned stuff just because it's much lower in calories and sugar. I might come back with more of that, so we'll leave that out for now. This is just generic Italian seasoning. Or I guess not generic, McCormick's. I'm just going to start to incorporate all that together. Which one should I use? Use this one. Definitely going to throw more sauce in here. I don't think it would kill me to go a whole cup. Yummy. All right, I can hear the dough getting pretty clumpy, so I need to get to that pretty soon. But I also want to throw in there 150 grams of fat-free cheese. That is zeroed out. I will dump all this on there. Let's see how much I used. It's 82, so I need 68 more grams. That was 43. 53. Perfect. Give or take perfect. I'm going to throw a little bit more seasoning on there. Oh, I guess a lot. And then some salt. I'm going to mix it real good one more time. And then I'm going to put a lid on it to let the cheese melt. Sea salt. So I know fat-free cheese, it's gross. It doesn't melt right. People don't like it, whatever. But when you eat clean as much as I do, this cheese is a game breaker. It's a little bit of carbs, and it is loaded with protein, and it is not as high, it is zero fat, so it's exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to put a lid on that as I get this dough ready. Where's my lid? That's the right one. Yeah, big enough. So the dough gets like starts to ball up in there. And I'm just going to go in there with my hand and make sure I mash it up into one big ball. My mixer doesn't quite hit the bottom, so I got to do some work to get the stuff off the bottom. But that's okay. It does remind me of a very dry pizza dough. So I'm still kneading it to try and get some of the moisture to the edges to collect some of the remaining flour that's hitting the bottom here. Good enough. All right, let me get a cutting board out. Big one. Oh. I think I'll save this for later. Try and pick up some of the crumbs that fall off and start to shape it into like a loaf. And I'm just going to divide it up into like 4 pieces. I could use the scale. Oh, I feel my tricep working in that one. Could use the scale to divide it up evenly, but I'll just go by eyeball. Because at the end of the week, it all balances out. It all averages out. So My calorie count is correct on the whole thing. By the time I have the fourth one, it'll all be regulated out. So let me turn it into like a loaf so I can get an idea for an even cut. There we go. So there's my loaf. Now I'm going to chop, considering the name Chop Pocket. I'm going to chop it into 4 even pieces. So I'll cut it in half, cut it in half again. Trying my best to keep them even. So there's my 4 supposed to be even parts, and I don't think they are very even. This one feels like it has a little bit more than that one. But we will roll these anyway, so that'll come together fine. So I'm just gonna put these in this bowl. I'm gonna start to roll this one out. So one thing I wish I had was a roller to even these things out into like an even dough. The cheese is starting to melt here. I turned that up, but I really want to turn it off. Doesn't look as appetizing as I had hoped, but I'm sure it'll be just as tasteful. I'm actually going to move that off of the heat since it's already starting to melt. The remaining heat that's on the pan should be able to get the rest of that cheese melted. So now I'm going to roll this out. Again, I don't have a roller, so I need to get creative and find something smooth and cylindrical that won't ruin my crust here. I'll just go with one of this. So a cup, I'm going to use a metal cup that isn't too banged up from the children. That should work. So now I'm just going to roll this thing flat as big as I can so that I can stuff as much of that filler in there as I can. I'll start by hand mushing it down so I have more control. When the edges start to crack, you just kind of roll it back into itself and push down again. So last time I made these, the first one was a disaster. I didn't roll it thin enough. I kind of like to roll from the center out. And then I'll flip it and turn it. To get different angles. Man, I don't have the elbow grease I used to have with this injury. I'm sure in the past I would be able to get this thing much, much flatter. With a bicep tear and having some atrophy in your arm, because you can't really use that arm, that is not as simple as it once was. So I keep going. I want to say I'm already beyond where I was on the last batch of these I made. I'll go one more round and then I got to get that chicken out of the heat. Oh, don't want that to be on the burner. All right, that feels like it's a pretty good enough size. What's going on here? So now I'm going to put that on the scale so I can divvy it up for 4 even parts. Running out of room here. All right, so now I'm going to take this lid off and give it a good stirring. All right, scale is on, everything's centered. Last time I made this, the cheese just became a jumbled mess, so we're looking the same as we did before. So let me just get this centered over the scale. And it's about 31 ounces. Last one was about 28, so we're pretty consistent there. So 31 divided by 4, go. 7.75, good call. Y'all are really good at math. So let's take 7.75 away. Put it in our crust here. Seven. 0.8. Ah, that's good. So now we make our pocket. So now we're going to start to fold this thing up, and when we fold, we need to stretch a little bit, kind of pinch it closed as we're pulling it in. So I'm going to stretch a little, reach it as far over as I can with the longer side. I'm trying to kind of mush it down as I pull these sides in. One thing you might want to have handy, which I should have, is a spoon so I can kind of shove all that stuff back in the pocket as I'm starting to close it up. And there we go. There's our first one. I get a plate and set it aside. I guess I could start just frying that bad boy up now. So I'm going to put this on heat. I'm going to start with this side down, the opening side down, so that hopefully it seals it shut a little bit. And this pan can fit too. So I'm going to fit that off to one side as I can hear my dog snoring in the background. And I'll work on the next one. So again, by hand, I start to flatten out the first one. This one feels a little smaller, so this one might be a struggle to fit everything. Now we switch to our magical bakery roller. Thank you to my children for enjoying their thermos cups so much that I now have a multi-purpose tool to use around the kitchen. you guys are cooking at home, I hope you have the forethought to put stuff away before you start cooking so it's not in the way. And I am already behind. I need to eat that one basically as soon as it's done. And this isn't super sticky like a normal dough. So I know when you're doing pizza dough or you're making doughs, you usually flour the cutting board or the surface you're kneading on and rolling on. Not fully necessary here, but still wouldn't hurt. Not your typical flour, not your typical crust. We're almost there, but again, this one's going to be smaller. You don't want to go so thin that it tears when you put the stuff inside of it, but you want to go thin enough that it will fit everything. Alright, so let's see how much we can get on that one. We'll go 7.6 this time. Go at the bottom of the half we're measuring. I think we'll be okay. Oop. 7.6, perfect. Alright, there is no longer side here, so we're just going to have to this one's going to be stuffed or not. Going like in the center there and trying to push all directions so that you get some more stretch out of this dough without tearing it. I tore it a little, that's okay. We're going to put that right on the heat there. Sounds like this one's ready to be flipped. Not quite. Alright, on to the next one. This one should be a little bigger. So everyone's getting out of school early today. High schools will start to dismiss in 23 minutes. So my quiet house won't stay as quiet for much longer. Gotta go pick up the youngest sooner so that we can get the older one off the bus. But I will be meal prepped out for today for sure, for most of tomorrow. And I gotta prep some creamies. Some of my high protein ice cream ready. When I grew up, I ate ice cream every single night. My dad was big on it. My mom didn't really care. So I guess it's a habit that stuck with me, having sweets at bedtime, specifically ice cream. So having it creamy every night, even if it is just a high protein, generic vanilla flavor, is nice. I can hear them things sizzling, but they're not browning up much yet. that one's ready. We're going to aim for 7.7 this time. Six 6.8, 7.5, 7.9. That little piece back, or good enough. No way one of them isn't starting to brown on the bottom. Oh yeah. Guarda bella. Look at that. Just what we want to see. Nice and brown on the bottom. Ooh. So I'll give those a couple more minutes. That one's good. I need somewhere to put this. Once I hit the full time around, I'll check on those again, because I know the second time around it's a little faster. Give it another minute. I'll pop both of them off. I don't know why I grabbed a little plate. I'm gonna need a bigger plate. Those two are done. I'm gonna get this one on the heat. Once I get this one on, I'm gonna eat one. So I will cut it open and show you. Almost done. Taking longer than I planned for. Now I can start to clear up space. Yeah. Crap. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. All right. Give me a spoon. Doesn't matter. Thank you. All right, good enough. That one goes on. This one gets flipped. I hope. Get out of the way. Lunchtime for everybody. All right, now for the final reveal. Which one do you think looks better? I think that one looks better. We'll take that one off the heat for a couple minutes so it doesn't burn my face. As we get some steaming hot clean eating for the wife. Chicken, rice, and broccoli. Good call. Burn myself on your food. All right, so now I'm going to cut this one in half because I want to show you how it comes out. So this is my chicken parm chop pocket. There it is. And the macros are each one of these chop pockets, facial recognition, 2020. Each one of these are 2 grams of fat, 74 carbs, and 42 grams of protein. And they are outstanding. You want a bite? Oh my God. Yep, right? All right. 2 grams of fat, 74 carbs, 42 protein. Easy to make. I have 3 for the next couple of days. Pretty darn good. Next one's going to be a steak and cheese cheesesteak. I'll let you know if I can work it out. See ya.